I'm trying my very best to smile and be awake. No coffee this morning because anxiety, unnecessary anxiety. So, yes, I'm going to get through this the best way that I can. Right? Abraham had died and he had his son Isaac, one of his sons, but nonetheless, this is the one that we focus on because he's carrying out the tradition and the line of his family. Anyways, he found his wife Rebecca, right? Or the servant found Rebecca, brought her back. He married Rebecca in the tent of his mother, who has since passed. So now we're going to take a look at Isaac and his life and Rebecca's life. We're going to learn about his children, which I'm sure you know who they are. But let's go ahead and open up with a quote. O Lord, thou knowest how busy I must be this day. If I forget thee, do not forget me. And this is from A Prayer Before the Battle of Edge Hill, Sir Philip Warwick, Memoirs, 1701. So, this is a prayer before a battle, but we can relate this to maybe like the holiday season. O Lord, thou knowest how busy I must be this day. This is the day before Thanksgiving. I know people are cooking already, which is wild, or maybe you've been cooking all week, right? If I forget thee, do not forget me. Of course, this is a time of thanks. It's a time of coming together, but sometimes it can feel like a battle in people's minds, trying to wrap their heads around preparing everything for the holidays. So, great. Speaking of family, we will then, yes, talk about Isaac and his family. And they encounter quite a bit of busyness, I would say, even with their children. So, let's begin. Isaac, chapter 25, by the way. Isaac prayed to the Lord on behalf of his wife, because she was childless. The Lord answered his prayer, and his wife, Rebekah, became pregnant. The Lord said to her, 2 nations are in your womb, and 2 peoples from within you will be separated. 1 people will be stronger than the other, and the older will serve the younger. So keep this in mind. God kind of predicts what is going to happen between these 2 brothers. Let's learn who these 2 brothers are. The boys grew up, and Esau became a skillful hunter, a man of open country, while Jacob was content to stay at home living among the tents. Isaac, who had a taste for wild game, loved Esau, but Rebekah loved Jacob. Now there was a famine in the land, besides the previous famine at Abraham's time. At Abraham's time? Anyways, chapter 26. Now there was a famine in the land besides the previous famine at Abraham's time. And Isaac went to Abimelech, king of the Philistines, in Gerar. And so yes, Isaac goes and he separates from where he previously was. When the men of that place asked him about his wife, he said, "She is my sister," because he was afraid to say, "She is my wife." He thought, the men of this place might kill me on the account of Rebekah because she is beautiful. So, like father, like son, Isaac literally does the exact same thing that Abraham had did before. Whenever going to a new land, he would go ahead and announce his wife as his sister, so there wouldn't be any unnecessary jealousy or competition. I thought it was a little hilarious how they're carrying out the same theme, but it is what it is, and I think maybe that was a commonplace thing to do, but nonetheless, it caused just confusion on behalf of the people of the land, the Philistines in Gerar. But Isaac moved away from there and encamped in the valley of Gerar, where he settled. Meanwhile, Abimelech had come to him from Gerar with Azath, his personal advisor, and Philcol, the commander of the forces. Isaac asked them, "Why have you come to me, since you were hostile to me and sent me away?" They answered, We saw clearly that the Lord was with you, so we said, there ought to be a sworn agreement between us and you. Let us make a treaty with you so that you will do us no harm, just as we did not harm you, but always treated you well and sent you away peacefully. And now you are blessed by the Lord. So again, the same instance happened where, knowing that Rebecca was his sister, there was some kind of like weird thing going on with the king and Rebecca and all of this stuff. The Lord, of course, intervened and was like, listen, like, this is actually his wife. And then they're confused, but then they're just more coming into their knowledge, like, okay, the Lord is actually looking out after this person. He's being blessed and he's being watched, so they want to be now on Isaac's good side, just as Abraham was with a lot of these great kings of the lands that they chose to settle in. So, fantastic. That's great. Abimelech, we talked about that yesterday. It's just a general name for a king, especially of the Philistines, so that's something to remember. It's not the same king. But anyways, when Isaac, we basically fast forward to all this, right? fast forward. When Isaac was old and his eyes were so weak that he could no longer see, he called Esau, his older son, and said to him, "My son, here I am," he answered. "Bring me some game and prepare me some tasty food to eat, so that I may give you my blessing in the presence of the Lord before I die." Then she handed... Anyways, I jump around a lot, obviously, to save some time, but as we know, Rebecca loves Jacob and wanted Jacob to receive the blessing, so they did a little switcheroo, a little mischievous thing, which is funny because Rebecca is knowing in her mind that it's acceptable and morally okay, even though it's kind of not, but what the woman says goes. Like, that's just how it is. Because the Lord had predicted this. She predicted that the younger son would in fact triumph over the older son, which was Esau. Although they were basically twins, they came out like one after the other, but technically Jacob was the younger, Esau was the one who came out first. But anyways, then she handed to her son Jacob the tasty food and the bread she had made. So he went to him and kissed him. When Isaac caught the smell of his clothes and blessed him and said, "Ah, the smell of my son is like the smell of a field that the Lord has blessed." So wonderful. The son Jacob, Isaac thinks it's Esau because he's wearing his clothes. He has some hairy arms to appear like Esau. But things that I left out here were that the fact that Isaac asks Jacob a lot. He's like, "Are you sure you're not Jacob? Are you sure this is Esau?" So he's knowing in the back of his head that there might be some deception going on, because Isaac was not a dumb man. He just keeps questioning him, and he's saying, "Oh no, of course I'm Esau. Go ahead and smell the clothes. This is me." But yes, there was some deceptive behavior. Isaac answered Esau, "I have made him lord over you, and I have made all his relatives his servants, and I have sustained him with grain and new wine. So what can I possibly do for you, my son?" Esau said to his father, "Do you only have one blessing, my father? Bless me too, my father." Then Esau wept aloud. So, of course, Esau comes back in the midst of all of this and sees Jacob in his clothes, and he's like, "What the heck is going on?" And then Isaac's like, "Oh, I'm sorry, I already blessed him as you, I apologize." And Esau's like, "Well, you can bless me as well, knowing the truth, right?" But his father Isaac answered him, "Your dwelling will be away from the earth's richness, away from the dew of heaven above. You will live by the sword, and you will serve your brother. But when you grow restless, you will throw his yoke from off your neck." So, again, remembering what we talked about first, what God had said. God had said this would happen. Isaac is just talking, just basically through the Spirit, letting him know this is just how the things will go. And it's really not as bad as we think. Although we only really hear a lot about Jacob's story, we never really knew how Esau grew up. We just see him later in the future, developed and having a big family and a lot to live for, right? So We don't know the challenges that he faced, but we do know that both of them ended up fine. Jacob actually went through, I think, a lot of challenges just because we read his narrative and we will understand what those challenges are. But anyways, Isaac called for Jacob and blessed him. Then he commanded him, "Do not marry a Canaanite woman, to go at once to Paddan Aram, to the house of your mother's father Bethuel. Take a wife for yourself there from among the daughters of Laban, your mother's brother." Cousins, essentially. That is just how it was. But anyways, something that I did leave out as well, I think why Isaac was also okay to bless Jacob, and why, yes, Rebekah loved Jacob as well because he was in the house, he was helping out. But something that Esau had did was he did the dreaded thing and he married a Canaanite woman, like very early on. We barely hear about it, but we know that that was the case. And then, Rebekah was not feeling that. And then Isaac was just kind of like, all right, well, whatever, But he specifically is now commanding Jacob, do not do what your brother Esau did and marry a Canaanite woman. Go marry your cousin. Stay close to the family. That's just how it is. And at that, Jacob had obeyed his father and mother and had gone to Paddan Aram. When he had reached a certain place, he stopped for the night, and the sun had set. Taking one of the stones there, he put it under his head, and he lay down to sleep. So he goes off. He had a dream in which he saw a stairway resting on earth, with its top reaching to heaven, and the angels of God were ascending and descending on it. When Jacob awoke from his sleep, he thought, "Surely the Lord is in this place, and I was not aware of it." He was afraid and said, "How awesome is this place! This is none other than the house of God. This is the gate of heaven." Then Jacob continued on his journey and came to the land of the eastern peoples. So wonderful. Jacob has a fabulous dream where he sees the stairway essentially to heaven. He sees a portal, if you will. It was so vivid, he woke up and he thought it was real, or assumed that it was reality that he was seeing. He was seeing it through the veil, and he's like, this is great, this is awesome. So it was really just a good sign for him to know to keep going forward and to pursue what he needs to go ahead and pursue. And he's going to come upon a few challenges, as we will soon learn, but that will be for tomorrow or another day. Tomorrow, because I actually have a day off tomorrow, a vacation, a little holiday, so I will do some more reading on this tomorrow. But thank you for listening. I will head to work and feed the kittens, and not in that order, get my day started. Have a great evening, everybody, or a great day, and enjoy the rest of your times, your evening, whatever this is. Morning, evening, whenever you're watching. Good night. Good day. Cannot. Bye.